Director Gabbard, last year you testified that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. Do you stand by that statement? Yes or no?
Context matters with that statement.
Yes or no?
Iran had all of the materials and capabilities to do so.
Mr. Chairman, I reclaim my time. It's an easy answer. You either stand by what you said last year or not.
It is a serious question that requires the totality
Director Gabbard,
of the information
I reclaim my
available.
time. I reclaim my time. When President Trump was asked about your testimony, he said you were wrong. Were you lying or not?
I stand by the intelligence community's complete assessment.
Director Ratcliffe.
That exchange right there is the one that blows the entire justification for this war wide open. Because here is what just happened in that hearing room. The Director of National Intelligence, the person whose singular job is to collect, assess, and deliver accurate intelligence to the President of the United States, was asked whether she stands by testimony she gave to Congress last year. Testimony in which she stated that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon and that the Supreme Leader had not authorized a nuclear weapons program. Her answer was that context matters. Not yes, not no, context matters. And then the congressman delivered the line that changes everything. When President Trump was asked about that testimony, the official assessment of his own Director of National Intelligence, delivered under oath to Congress, he said she was wrong, and he did not care what she thought. Let that sequence land completely. The President of the United States launched a war against Iran. The stated justification for that war was the nuclear threat. The administration told the American people that Iran posed an imminent danger that required immediate military action. And the person responsible for delivering the intelligence assessment that should have informed that decision told Congress last year that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. Trump said she was wrong. Trump said he did not care what she thought. And then Trump launched the war anyway. That is not a commander-in-chief acting on intelligence. That is a commander-in-chief acting against intelligence. And the consequences of that decision, the lives lost, the Strait of Hormuz shut down, the oil prices climbing, the allies watching their energy infrastructure burn are being paid right now by people who had no vote in that decision.
So let me just kind of get this straight. The department, you said that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon last year. President Trump said he didn't care what you thought, and you were wrong. They engaged in Operation Midnight Hammer. He then says it was obliterated. We hear later reports that in open source reporting that it was only set back by a few months. Then at the beginning of this war, he said that they were weeks away. I just want to kind of get a sense of, were they weeks away of achieving a nuclear weapon? Yes or no?
Congressman, this is a serious matter, and you've made some very serious mischaracterizations
yes
here.
Yes or no? Were they weeks
away?
away?
It would be a disservice to you and the American people to answer this question with a mere yes or no.
Reclaiming my time. Were they weeks away or not?
The American people deserve a direct answer to that question, and they did not get one. Let me lay out exactly what the congressman was asking and why it matters. Last spring, Gabbard testified under oath that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. The Supreme Leader had not authorized a nuclear weapons program. That was the official intelligence community assessment delivered to Congress on the record. Then Operation Midnight Hammer happened. American and Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Trump went on television and said the program was obliterated. Done. Finished. Then open source reporting emerged from multiple independent outlets saying the program was not obliterated. It was set back by a few months. Not years, not decades, months. Then, at the beginning of this expanded war, Trump said Iran was weeks away from achieving a nuclear weapon. So the timeline runs like this. Iran not building a weapon, according to the intelligence community. Program obliterated, according to Trump. Program only set back by months, according to independent reporting. Iran weeks away from a weapon, according to Trump, when justifying the war. These statements cannot all be true at the same time. They are not a coherent intelligence picture. They are a series of claims that shift to fit whatever decision has already been made. And when a congressman asked the Director of National Intelligence to clarify were they weeks away from a nuclear weapon, yes or no, Gabbard refused to answer. The American people need to know whether this war was launched against an imminent nuclear threat or against a program that the intelligence community itself assessed was not being actively built. Those are not the same thing. And the answer determines whether this war was a necessary act of self-defense or a choice made by one man who told his own intelligence director he did not care what she thought.
Yesterday, you said that only the president, the only person who can determine what is an imminent threat is the President of the United States. Do you stand by that statement?
Yes, I do.
Director Ratcliffe, do you agree with that assessment? That the President is the only person that can determine if something is an imminent threat or not?
The President, as Commander-in-Chief, gets to make a decision about what's an imminent threat. The intelligence community, well, the intelligence...
Reclaim my time. Reclaim my time.
Intelligence community has provided a body of intelligence that supports
the reason why
the decision
is that if the President can determine and ignore what you're doing, why do you guys even have a job? Why do you even advise them? So you're saying tomorrow the President of the United States can say China is an imminent threat, and then he can take his own... No matter what the intelligence says, he can take his own action. So that's what you're basically saying. Okay, let's go on.
That exchange is the most constitutionally significant moment in the entire hearing, and it needs to be examined with complete precision. Gabbard testified the previous day that only the President of the United States can determine what constitutes an imminent threat. Ratcliffe confirmed that assessment. The President, as Commander-in-Chief, gets to make that decision. The congressman asked the obvious follow-up question that dismantles that entire framework in one sentence. If the President can determine and ignore what the intelligence community says, why do you even have a job? Neither Gabbard nor Ratcliffe had a clean answer to that. Because there is no clean answer. The position they have just articulated under oath is that the President can designate any nation as an imminent threat regardless of what the intelligence community assesses, and act militarily on that designation without congressional authorization. The congressman took it to its logical conclusion. Tomorrow, the President could say China is an imminent threat and take unilateral military action against China, regardless of what the intelligence says. That is what they are confirming. That is the doctrine they defended under oath in that hearing room. This is not a theoretical concern. This is the doctrine that was applied to Iran. The intelligence community assessed Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. Trump said she was wrong. Trump said he did not care. Trump launched the war. And when asked whether Iran was actually an imminent threat, the question that determines whether the war was legal under the War Powers Act, the Director of National Intelligence refused to say yes or no. The War Powers Act requires the President to notify Congress within 48 hours of introducing armed forces into hostilities and limits military action to 60 days without congressional authorization. The legal trigger for that authority is the existence of an actual imminent threat to the United States. If Iran was not an imminent threat, if the intelligence community's own assessment said they were not building a nuclear weapon, then the legal foundation for this war is not there. And the people who should be able to tell Congress whether that foundation exists are sitting in that hearing room, refusing to answer yes or no.
Director Gabbard, you said that North Korea has intercontinental ballistic missiles that can reach the homeland. Yet, the Defense Department said that Iran was at least 10 years away from achieving an intercontinental ballistic missile that can reach the homeland. Which one is a more serious threat, North Korea or Iran?
These threats are taken within the context of the total body of intelligence reporting.
So that's, it should be, and that's my point. It's not just about having the capability of building a weapon. It's if they can actually deliver that weapon, if they have the intention of doing that. How many weeks away are they? We haven't heard that there were weeks away. We haven't heard that there were months away. But that's what we're waiting for. Imminent, to me, means is that they're mobilizing troops. They're moving things into position, artillery. They're getting ready to attack. But everything that we've heard is that this is not the case.
That final point is the one that ties everything together. The congressman asked a straightforward comparative question. North Korea has intercontinental ballistic missiles that can reach the United States homeland right now. The Defense Department assessed Iran was at least 10 years away from achieving that same capability. Which one is the more serious threat? Gabbard deflected to the total body of intelligence reporting. But the congressman's point is the correct one. An imminent threat is not just a country that theoretically wants to build a weapon someday. An imminent threat is a country that has the capability to deliver that weapon to your territory and is actively mobilizing to do so. Troops moving, artillery repositioning, forces getting ready to attack. None of that was happening with Iran before this war started. That is what the intelligence community's own assessment reflected. That is what Gabbard testified to last year. That is what Trump said he did not care about. So here is the full picture that this hearing produced. Last year, Gabbard told Congress Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. Trump said she was wrong and did not care what she thought. Operation Midnight Hammer struck Iranian nuclear facilities. Trump said the program was obliterated. Independent reporting said it was set back by months. Trump then said Iran was weeks away from a weapon when justifying this war. Gabbard refused to confirm whether Iran was actually weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Gabbard and Ratcliffe confirmed under oath that only the president can determine what is an imminent threat, regardless of what the intelligence says. And North Korea with actual intercontinental ballistic missiles that can reach the United States homeland today was not the target. The intelligence community exists for one reason: to give decision-makers accurate information so that when the most consequential decisions a government makes are made the decision to go to war, they are made on the basis of what is real rather than what is convenient. Trump told his director of national intelligence he did not care what she thought. Then he launched a war. And now she is sitting in Congress refusing to say yes or no to the question of whether the threat that justified that war was actually imminent. The American people are paying for this war at the gas pump, at the grocery store, in the flag-draped coffins coming home from the Middle East. And the people responsible for the intelligence that was supposed to prevent exactly this kind of decision cannot answer a yes or no question about whether the threat was real.